This is June 3rd, 2020, and I'm talking about Pascal Boyer's book, Religion Explained. I think he's French, so Boyer is probably how it's pronounced. But the last part is about relevance and cultural transmission. And let me do this let me use his examples here. He offers three potential descriptions of supernatural beings. One he calls divine brutes. They know nothing about what is going on, but make you sick, make your roof collapse, or make you rich, quite inadvertently. Full Aquinas agents, by which he means full omniscient agents, their minds represent every single fact about the world. And full strategic agents. If some information is strategic to your inference systems, they have access to it. Okay. All right. He dismisses, really, the divine brutes because, first of all, he says brutes are easy to understand. But they don't have any specific strategic information, and so therefore are really not of interest. There is nothing they can do for you because they don't know what your problems are or what your blessings are. The Aquinas agents, or the omniscient, all-knowing, their problem is they know everything, and so mixed into all of that information is the strategic information. And it's strategic information that is really most important to the individual. Okay. They say, it seems first that such concepts are relevant because they require less effort to represent, and it just takes less effort. It's just our mind works easily in the direction. The second thing is that conceiving of what a full access agent would know means running all these estimates minus the obstacles. Now, the obstacles for the divine brutes, the obstacle is that they don't really know the strategic information. The obstacle for the Aquinas agents or the omniscient agents is they know too much, and the strategic stuff gets lost in the chatter. So the full access agents who know strategic information, first of all, the expectation is for full access, and the other two categories are really not doing that. So the inference systems that are fired off by the individual when they hear about any of these three, the third one is going to be the one that produces the most inference system and the easiest to understand. Concepts of full access agents do not just require less effort, but they also generate richer inference systems. Now, in terms of, this is important because, as it turns out, those that do not have do not form inference systems as fully, they become sort of marginal characters. There are supernatural agents who are brutes, and there are supernatural agents who are omniscient, but in general, the ones that are most operative in ordinary people's lives are the ones who are full access strategic agents, because they know what they need to know. When I'm sick and I'm praying to the supernatural agent or agents about that sickness, my assumption is they know about it. The brutes don't know, and the Aquinas agents or the omniscient agents know, but it's one of many things, and obviously the Aquinas agents have lots of other priorities. So anyway, this is the end of the chapter, and it says the consequences of full access agents is, it says, given the expectation of full access, it is not surprising in many human groups people are concerned with other people's views of religious agents. To assume that there is a fully informed agent around is likely to change my behavior. So if we had a fully informed access agent on the internet, then a lot of the troll behavior would go away, because they would know somebody was looking over their shoulder. Anyway, the cultural transmission in the culture, in the group of people that believe about a particular supernatural agent or agents, is the transmission of that is easier for the full access agents. It is not for many of the others. He uses an example of aliens as a way of, we have aliens and UFOs and things like that. And those aliens are often powerful, and they are full of things that are supernatural in their orientation, because they're different than we are. But the problem is those people, or those aliens, do not have full access to my strategic information. And so therefore, the array of inference systems that I would use in relationship to that is minimal. They just don't interest me, or they don't interest other people, and they aren't transmitted within the culture because they don't have that specific information. If you have information about what I need to do or what needs to be done for me, then you're in. That's how our mind works. At least that's what Boyer says. Well, this chapter, if I can look back on it a little, why gods and spirits, I think he basically is saying that there are gods and spirits because of the way our mind works. And that, of course, assumes that there is no agency in those supernatural agents, that they really exist as a kind of fantasy. But if they're routinely involved in my life, or there are things that I want, or if I've had a experience of the tremendum, which is the experience of God, that can come to us, that experience is sort of beyond what Boyer is talking about. But his fourth chapter here is quite important because he talks about how the inference systems work to sort of pick a certain part of the natural and supernatural realm that's most relevant for us. And our minds, which have been evolved over, well, certainly over the last 200,000 years anyway, and through lots of different social groupings and lots of different supernatural beings described in many different ways, the similarity is that those agents, by and large, the successful ones that have been transmitted, are the ones who are full access agents. They're not omniscient, and they're not, or if they're omniscient, they're talked about omniscience, but when the individual addresses the supernatural being, it isn't as an omniscient, all-knowing person. It's as a full access to strategic information in one's own life. Anyway, so gods and spirits, at least, have, by the way they operate as persons with minds in particular, and those minds are really about full access agents to the strategic information. And of course, he explains strategic as opposed to all information. There's lots of information that's not relevant to strategic information. And then there's strategic information, which has to do with how things are going to happen, or things we'd like to happen in the future, specifically with ourself, our group, our tribe, whatever. Anyway, well, it's a complicated chapter, but I'm beginning to see a kind of divergence a little bit from sort of traditional religious experience. I'm not really disagreeing with what he says as much as finding it sort of narrow in its scope, meaning that it covers the exigencies of anthropology, but it doesn't really cover the exigencies of religious life. Anyway, well, okay, thank you for listening. We'll go on to chapter 5, and chapter 5 will cover why do gods and spirits matter. Okay, so why are they significant? He's raised the issue of relevance in chapter 4. Relevance meaning, is it relevant to me or to my group or to whatever? That, and when it is relevant, and the thing about full access agents is they are infinitely relevant to my situation or one's situation. And when that happens, then the brain triggers lots of inferences from it, and is a rich source of thought. Anyway, okay, we'll talk more.